He has a whole lot of outboard gear, really nice outboard gear. And I was talking to him and we had like this whole entire conversation about outboard gear, if it's necessary or not. Hello and good morning, guys. It's Sunday fun day. I tried to shave. I don't know, maybe I could pull it off. I'm just waiting, maybe 5 more minutes and then just start with the day. All ready for some music making today. There's just one little problem, and yeah, as you know, I don't have any speakers that are working in my studio, and I definitely need to finish my next singles. I got the vocals, I got the instrumental, so I just need to merge the two. I thought about possible solutions. The obvious one is just to get new speakers. I ordered them already. I'm just waiting for the order to be complete and sent out to me. And those speakers are so huge. I got this huge piece of fabric just to cover one of them. Be prepared for like massive speakers. Should maybe start underselling them to surprise you more, but they're so big I don't have to do that. And yeah, the easier solution is just like lending someone else's speakers, but I know how I just hate moving my speakers around in my studio. So I asked Justus, you know Justus, my guitar playing guy that also has a studio, if I can use his studio for a couple of hours on a Sunday. He said no problem. So let's just go there, check out his gear and use it to merge instrumental and vocals. So yeah, that noise was my broken speaker. I don't know why I even turned them on. They're not working. But yeah, welcome to my studio. I'm happy to be back. I'm just waiting for the new speakers. And I'm all done with mixing the back-to-back song. It was hard to do it in another studio. It took me at least twice as long. And on top of that, I had to work with Cubase. So thanks a lot to Justus for helping me out, controlling his DAW. We kind of did a stem mixing, because the entire instrumental was already ready and we just needed to mix the vocals, which isn't that hard. A little bit of EQing, compression, de-essing, and of course reverb. Here and there a little bit of delay, and for the backings, stereo spreading, chorus, and a lot more reverb to make them sit nice in the mix. I'm really happy with this song. I think I already mentioned it. I think it's my best so far, mixing wise, song wise, lyrically, stylistically. I really like it and can't wait to share it with you. Trying to get it released this month, but I first need to get it mastered and then the cover done and then release it. So a month is really tight, but maybe this will work. And you might seen in Justus' studio, he has a whole lot of outboard gear, really nice outboard gear. And I was talking to him and we had like this whole entire conversation about outboard gear, if it's necessary or not. So I wanted to make like a short part of this video all about that, because that's also what a lot of people ask me. Should they buy outboard gear? Is it necessary to buy it? Is it worth it to buy it? Is it the factor that makes the difference between you and a professional, successful, huge like producer? And I can assure you that it's not. I mean, outboard gear is nice. For example, here in the back, synths and drum things. These are just toys. I don't think you will make a better song with these. It's definitely not worth it. The things you really need when it comes to gear, outboard gear, or gear in general is like good speakers, good room acoustic, the two most important factors, and then a decent sound card if you're working within the box. If you record, especially if you record vocals, I think the first outboard gear you should actually get is a preamp. It changes the vocal sound by a lot. I think it's out of all of the gear that exists, the only thing that still makes the biggest difference when you get it as an outboard gear. It just sounds better. It's like 5, maybe to 10% a better, more pop, kind of more clean, kind of warm, professional sound that is hard to fake with software. But other than that, for example, EQs, I think the ones in your computer are way more precise. If you use an old vintage EQ, the ones by Waves and all these other companies, they actually sound nice. They have that vintage sound. Maybe not like the original, but close enough that it actually isn't worth it to buy the expensive thing. And usually the old vintage gear is heavy maintenance and heavy cost, and then when you produce, you still have to route your audio through it, which takes time, and most people are too lazy to do that because it just takes away your creative flow, because you have to deal with these kind of things. And back in the 80s, you had an engineer taking care of that, and you as a musician could just play your instrument or just sing or write. Nowadays, since most people do everything themselves, it's just like another factor that delays your creativity. You might forget your ideas. So I would recommend to just work inside the box, get good speakers, invest in your room acoustic, and if you have spare money and you want to get to the next level and you record, then the preamp. But everything else, I think most compressors that you can get for your computer sound actually quite good. And if they sound too clean, you can use one that emulates the vintage sound. And if you still have spare money, then go with a good compressor, maybe a good limiter. And the one thing where I would say that outboard gear really matters is when it comes to mastering. Like if you're a mastering engineer, outboard gear can make a huge factor. Designing your sound, your trademark, being able to manipulate the sounds a little more and get like the last warmth and professional analog kind of sound onto the records. And let's be honest, most people that listen to music, especially pop music and also club music, they just want it to work. They just want pop music to be enjoyable in their car on their way to work and back. And people listening to club music just want it to hit really hard. And if you give the people that's all they will ever ask for. They don't care if it got compressed by digital or analog or virtual compressor. It really doesn't matter. I think you can get with every single tool a very, very similar outcome. So for example, if you give a good producer the worst DAW, the worst plugins, he will still make a million times better song than someone that has all of the gear and doesn't know how to operate it and when to use what and how actually to use it and how actually to write a song, maybe even how to play chords or a melody or just write a song. So definitely don't worry that much about the gear. If you have a computer, if you have speakers and maybe a sound card, you're all ready and set to go. Even just headphones, you can accomplish great things just with headphones. I'm not the biggest fan of headphones for mixing, but you can make great music with it. And if you're really in desperate need and you don't advance with your mixing, it's really not the gear. It's your experience. It's how many tracks you already mixed, how well your ear is trained, and all these other factors you just learn over years. So if you're just starting out and it doesn't sound like Martin Garrix or David Guetta or whatever you're listening to and really like, it just takes time. Just go back and listen to their first songs, and you will probably start laughing because their first songs were probably in the same ballpark as your songs right now. So really don't worry about it. My first song sounded shitty. It's not the gear. I still don't really have any outboard gear, or I at least don't use it in my songs. I'm like completely working within the laptop usually. Just that preamp might be on my to buy list as like the next thing. First, speakers that work properly for here and the upstairs studio, and then a preamp for the recording vocal booth, just to be able to record better vocals. But I think, yeah, main point, don't worry about the gear. Just make music, just train, just advance. Don't worry about spending for anything that is gear related. And make your first money with music, and then maybe if you really want to, you can buy some outboard gear. Or if you have a lot of customers, the outboard gear might make them pay you more. That's like a huge factor, and it's actually what I talked with Justus about. Like when he has a customer in his studio, he's turning all of the outboard gear on just to have the lights on, because people are usually impressed by that stuff. But nowadays, all you need is skill. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope this vlog isn't too short, but I really spent like 8 hours just mixing that song in an environment that isn't mine. So a lot of wasted time. I hope I have never again to do this. It really makes a huge difference to be in your own studio. And I'm not even used to this. I mean, it's still under construction and I'm getting new speakers. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Let me know what you think about outboard gear versus no outboard gear. If you think it's necessary, if you think you can make it without, or if you think outboard gear is 100% needed to make good music. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see us tomorrow back again here in the studio, probably more studio construction. We